Hey guys, welcome to the video. Hope you're all having a good day. I'm 1442 Stuart, and in today's video we have a lot to go over. Probably not going to be able to cover everything in this video, but more will be coming in the future once I have a better understanding of the new systems, all the new uniques and more. So yeah, let's get into it. With this patch, they've introduced a whole new bunch of items, skills, bosses, enemy types. But the new item I want to talk about right now is the newly introduced Cosmic item, which combines all the new and old types of items. Those being the Hunt, the Wrath of Sarazil and the Arahon special drops, resulting in 3 additional specialised affixes with huge levels of applications to so many different builds. I see a huge amount of potential in build variety just from these items alone, with the new Arahon affix combined with the right Wrath of Sarazil affixes. There are so many different combinations and variants to look out for. As good as all that is, being said, that also introduces a whole new layer of complexity too, which to me at least seems like a game and not a lot of people know a lot about, which could be a good thing, but we'll have to wait and see. And what I mean by that is, introducing these 3 affixed items, you could make a build based around having specialised affixes for each item that you're wearing, and there's like 11 different items, and you can have 3 different affixes for each different item, which is 33 different variables. And if someone were to try and copy that, you could see how that would be an issue. It seems that with the new uniques in Wolcen, not only have they added new uniques, they seem to have implemented a new kind of imbued unique item that gives the new uniques, or maybe even the old. I've yet to find an old imbued version, but I don't know if you can. These imbued uniques give you the ability to cast another ability on hit, with a cooldown of course. This opens up a whole new can of worms when it comes to build design again, especially for those later pushing builds. I imagine having an extra Anvil's Woe proc on every basic attack is pretty useful. This new endgame loot, there'll be plenty of different and unique ways to push to 217, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it won't be as, narrowed and like bored down as it was before. And yeah, I don't really like the way it was before, with the whole just using 3 different skills like the railgun, the Arctic spear, or the what's it called, the minions. That was it. That was pretty much it. If you weren't doing that, you weren't doing 217 quickly. That was annoying. And speaking of endgame loot systems, the new one implemented in update 1.1.70 is the Arahon system, which is the main protagonist of the game. From this point on, there will be spoilers to the main campaign. I'll give you 5 seconds to think. Alright. Well, in the new Chapter 4, you'll have to defeat Arahon, the big bad demon guy who possessed your kinda dad and your sister all those years ago. When you complete the campaign, you gain access to the Champion of Stormfall mode, which is with all its usual bells and whistles. Some other new additions to the Dark Market and other places, which is appreciated. But you also gain access to the Arahon system, which in effect is a constantly generating boss fight, which at the moment for me scales to your highest current difficulty level. Although I haven't stayed at a difficulty level for long enough to see if you can turn this down. Anyway, throughout your usual mission loot gear cycle, you'll have a new option at the top to attack a lieutenant. I highly recommend doing this and choosing the ability to gain more items. I'll be making a video on this mechanic itself, so if you're interested in that, be sure to keep tuned to the channel. After you beat lieutenants, you then beat the big bad guy again for a good, big, crazy loot drop, choosing to make the fight easier for yourself and building defences, or going all in and trying to get the biggest loot explosion possible. Those are the 2 options. I know which one I pick every time, but some people I assume would take the more cautious approach. But, you know, I don't really see the point of taking the cautious approach. You can just keep on stacking Harvest, that's what it's called. You've got the choice whether to, reduce one of his skills' damages for when you have that boss fight, after 9 encounters, or you have the choice to force him to drop additional loot. And if you stack additional loot on additional loot like 10 times, I'll share there'll be footage in the background. It gets a bit crazy. You get a lot of stuff, so I'd recommend doing this for now. And if you're still watching at this point, that's awesome, and I'd really appreciate if you drop a like and hit the subscribe button. Anyway, it seems the Wolcen dev team are definitely trying to make a change for the better, in my opinion. With all these changes to how the endgame loop works and how frequently all the regents drop now, and uniques in general seem to drop much more than they did before. In the patch notes, it says they've also adjusted the Uber boss fight from 120 to 217, and they've adjusted the loot accordingly, so I'll definitely be giving that a go. They also said they reworked the rewards around other parts of the game as well, and not just that. They seem to rework the rewards around skulls and pretty much every other system in the game. Once you get to 217, you unlock the new Infinity system, which I will very soon. I just wanted to get this video out to you guys as quickly as I could, so that I could grab some of the hype and also let you guys know exactly how much I know, what I've learned, and to teach people in general how to play this game, because it is fun now more than ever, I'd say. They have added over 20 new enemy types in the game for you to get randomly one-shot by. They've added new idle animations for your character. They've changed some of the UI, like how gold and stuff is displayed. Rather than 5 followed by 7 zeros, it's displayed as 1.2n, which is much easier to understand, and a random small thing too. I don't know why they wasted so much time putting that in the patch notes, but you know, it is what it is. They've added 2 new skills into Iosonic Rain and Inescapable Skirmish. Iosonic Rain is the shooty, and Skirmish you summon people who do big lightning bolts. I'll be trying out both of these skills, no doubt. Look forward to making build videos around both of these. I wish they added more than just 2 skills, but who knows, if this update is received well enough, they could end up adding more to the game sooner. The new Regent's Assembly is a new part of Stormfall, one of the new nodes. It seems pretty cool. It's focused entirely around the Arahon system, which I'll cover in another video, but it seems pretty good. Also, a new thing they've introduced in this patch is the Curse and Blessing system. This system coincides and happens in the backgrounds of all your other workings. It basically gives a random positive and a random negative, depending on the level of the mission you're doing. This is a pretty cool system. I'm sure it can be to blame for most of my confusing what the fuck deaths. I hope they continue to add these new little bits of detail in the endgame experience, although I wish the curses and blessings were controllable, or at least rollable to the degree that it's not hindering only. But I'm not that far in yet, so we'll have to wait and see. I'm just seeing problems that I can see it becoming like, you know, not even a factor. It's just there. You don't think about it. You don't ever look at them because it's not real. It doesn't matter because of the way they're trying to implement it. It's either that's going to be the case, or it's going to be too much of a factor. So it'll be one of the variables of how you perform on the map, which is also a bit of an issue for me, to be honest. But I know the goal with this playthrough was to be, as they called it, roguelite, but I completed the act fairly swiftly. Didn't have to refight Arahon, I think, even once. Just ran in, whirlwinded around and killed everything. I can see how the people will have to grind away a bit and at least get to level 60 before actually defeating Arahon. Although we'll have to wait and see from you guys to get the general responses of the difficulty to this boss fight. I didn't find it too difficult myself, but what was difficult was dealing with the story writing of this new patch. Like I said earlier, there are spoilers from this point on, but Jesus Christ, with the "it was a dream" trope, I nearly cried when it happened the second time. You've got to fight this guy minimum 3 times in basically the exact same circumstance. The first time I fought him, I could have beaten the 3rd version of him, and was really just like, nah, he isn't dead yet. And then I killed him again, and then like, no, he's not dead yet, because you only get him to like half health, and then they stop the fight, and then you wake up again and have to repeat the last story that you played for the last hour, and do it again for another hour of the same story. And it's supposed to be, I don't know what they were thinking. But whilst I'm sat here full well knowing I could have killed his ass, that really annoys me. But like I said, I'm not really here for the story. I'm more of an endgame grinding, making the numbers go bigger. You guys know the deal by now. I'm just having my 2 pence when it comes to the story. I'd give it a C. Generic ARPG stuff, but it definitely served its purpose. As to the new endgame loop they've implemented, I'd actually rank that as a much better addition, as an A in my books. It's a rewarding, not a complete walk in the park, but not so difficult that you don't get rewarded. The new Imbued uniques and all that comes along with that, that's also a massive win in my books, which gives it another A. But the fact they only added 2 new skills into the game is, I gotta say, a massive F in my books. I mean, come on, man. 2. How long has this game been out? Like 3-4 years, and we've had 2 skills added? It's kind of crazy if you ask me. Especially when the market for ARPGs is as competitive as it is, with Last Epoch just introducing their new trade and multiplayer, Diablo 4 on the horizon. I really think now is the time for, and I'm not even going to mention PoE 2, but I really think now is the time for Wolcen to pull another something out the bag. Like, I'm going to keep playing because this game is awesome. I like the aesthetic, I like the dopamines I get off the numbers, there are a lot of positives to play in this game. Although the servers are better from what I've personally experienced, there was, I think, 3 or 4 times my character just decided that they didn't care about the floor and they didn't believe in it. So they fell all the way through and I ended up in this. And what they were going was straight through that. You know, I was locked in the animation, just stuck in a white screen of fucking brokenness. And it forced me to return to the main menu each time this happened. If any of you are like true OG Wolcen players, you remember the launch of this game. If that is the case, then you know that this happened in 3 or 4 times. It's not a big deal at all. Don't get me wrong, it shouldn't be happening at all, but compared to how bad it can be, I'm willing to let it slide. If anything, it actually made me laugh aloud because of how random and funny it was to see my character freaking out and fucking falling into the abyss. Because it wasn't happening every 3 seconds, it didn't seem like the worst thing in the world. So, to wrap this video up for now, I'd say that overall, I'm happy with this new addition to Wolcen, and if this is the quality of content we can get from these developers, it just frustrates me that it took this long for them to finally get it to us. That being said, in the time there has been a lot of community feedback given to developers, with videos like these, their social posts, loads of other ways, Discords. It seems to me they're at least listening and trying to implement things which have actually been thought through and aren't just slapped together out of panic to try and get their numbers up or whatever else. And this gives me hope for the future of this game, and I hope I can be here and continue to see it grow. If I hadn't played this game yet, or I hadn't played this game in quite some time, because let's be honest, not a lot has changed in a very long time in Wolcen. So if you are watching this still, I would definitely recommend to you that you play this game right now, because it will reflect to the devs they did good work, and it will inspire them to do more work like this in the future, making it so we get to play a better game. Cheers. That's all for me today. See you next time. Peace.